55.
Just for the sidewalks,
Just for the sidewalk.
for 2 blocks. Seems like,
So we don't have an exact figure of what that would cost,
Yes,
because that wasn't.
We do on the sheet,
it's 55,000.
it says from 8th to 2nd. That's
Oh,
9,300
Sorry,
square
I'm looking
feet
at the other side.
is 46,500 in concrete,
Okay, got it.
plus
if I'm reading. that right.
9,300 for the
No,
colored.
that's right, it was just on the other side.
Okay,
Subtotal for the colored sidewalk, 60,000, right?
55,064.87.
The bottom line.
Oh,
The 63 is the
okay,
square
all right.
feet.
If it goes to 8.
55 dollars,
whew,
goes to 8.
gotcha. Oh, those
So
are
from
credits.
30 to 55, we're adding $25,000 onto it.
Credits.
Okay, any other questions or discussion on the newly revised motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, colored concrete terraces to 8th Avenue it is.
Lots of good stamps. Want it to look good, Scott. Want it to-
Exact look to be determined.
Let Scott figure that out.
What's that?
I said, well, let Scott figure that out. He's gonna pick out the coloring and the stamping.
All right, let's move on to our next item. Discussion and action on recurring special event request to temporarily close Central Avenue. I have to turn my light on here too. From Bayfield Street to the alley on Wednesdays from 1 to 7 p.m. starting June 8th until October 19th from the Washburn Farmers Market.
Madam Mayor, I would move approval of the request to close Central Avenue.
Mary said it.
You gotta say the motion, you just can't say.
you don't.
So we had a motion by Karen and a second by
Laura.
Fight.
Laura. Any questions?
This is in like the district that I live in, and I know there was some concerns about a couple of the houses, like with the parking and stuff in front of them, and I guess I didn't hear any complaints last year. I don't know, Scott, was there any complaints that came forth during that time? Because it does impact on that night. I mean, that's, people who live on that corner, you better love the farmer's market.
What's an impact?
It's an impact, and it's one day, and it's all summer long, so.
Follow-up question to that. Has anyone considered the farmer's market in a different area, like on the Omaha Street property?
No.
I mean, this is the request, so this is what we have to vote on, but
No, I
just
think,
out of curiosity, has anyone heard any other?
I have not, and originally I've talked to the gentleman a couple times about this, and they really want it, like, and it does get the attention of people driving by, so they
Sure.
really want it like right on the main drag, and I get that, totally get that. So I think the Omaha Street property is too hot, and I think it's a little hot. I do think it's a little hot. They like having the DuPont Center there where they open up that area for them to go in, and it's kind of a, they have music, so electricity, I mean, the whole gamut. So I think it's a good location. I just think there is a
Okay.
couple, houses that are impacted. And I guess I was wondering if we got any complaints.
I did not get any complaints from residences in the area. In discussing this with the police chief, there were some concerns just on the traffic and the crosswalk. There were apparently a few close calls with people trying to cross the street with the increased traffic along Bayfield Street at that location. But, you know, it's something that they will continue to monitor as best they can and put up the crosswalk sign in that location.
Okay,
Again, just a reminder for people logging in to please mute yourself.
What?
I think it may.
Oh, you put the stones available.
Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Oh, boy, are we being,
Action.
You can't mute all.
Is that the first time that's happened?
That's the first time it's happened.
okay.
That's your alibi.
Yeah, I think for me, that was the only question that I had. Like I said, I mean, I do know that initially one of those houses was not very happy about it, and that's when we talked about, you know, that their area is gonna take that access their parking area and stuff, and I felt like people were respectful and didn't park in front of their spot. So it was fine. I just didn't know if somebody came in.
Until we get the mayor back.
Other questions about, the request? Hearing none, ready for the question?
Yeah.
All in favor of approving the request, for the farmer's market, during the summer months, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I have it, motion carried. The next item on the agenda is discussion and action regarding the renewal of the agreement for our city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve that agreement for a two-year agreement. Are there any questions or discussion regarding the agreement?
Who made the second? Mary made the motion, but who made the second?
I did.
Tom,
Tom?
Tom did.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no questions, all in favor of renewal of the agreement?
Aye.
Thank you, opposed, same sign, ayes have it. The next item is discussion and action on ordinance 2022-01 regulation, update on regulation licensing of dogs. Scott, do you want to give us any input or information regarding that item?
So, this issue came up, with a concern or request that had come forward. So we looked at this, the current ordinance that is in place, and, we had some questions how this may affect, service animals, mixed breeds, and so forth. So I discussed this with our attorney, and our current ordinance is allowable to make it withstand potential legal challenge from prohibiting certain breeds within the city. Our attorney recommended that we add a provision that allows a process for someone to petition the council, basically putting together a plan as to this is how they would take care of their dog and address this particular issue, and how we best that he comments on the rest.
I can answer any questions, but yes, with the say service animals being more common now, this has become one of the hot topics in municipal law. Municipalities can still, yes, ban breeds, but it's now being recommended to have this individual determination. And specifically, as you see in the proposed ordinance, that it's that determination, if someone requests it, is made on the specific actions of that individual dog and not based on the breed in and of itself. So if someone can bring in evidence that their dog, even though it's a dangerous breed, is a very friendly and loving animal and show specific evidence of that dog's behavior, then the council, I would say, would have to allow that dog in the city.
And Max, is there guidance in terms of what that evidence can be? I mean, that's kind of based on evidence, whose evidence and how.
It would be, yes, it would be on the burden, and that's in the section 4, says, puts the burden on the person applying, or 4.1, for any appeals or
Okay,
requests
okay.
for review of determinations of the city.
Okay,
Puts the burden on the person applying for that review.
okay.
So that's their burden, and then it'd be in the discretion of the council. So the discretionary standard is very deferential to the council. You basically just have to have some facts supporting your decision as to what you make that.
Okay.
If someone does make an appeal or a request for determination on this, you'd step in beforehand and lay out, similar to when we've had people making appeals of, lay out the standards and the procedure that was gonna happen, so that they were
Recording
caught
in
off guard
progress.
or otherwise uncertain of what was gonna happen.
Questions regarding, the revision in the ordinance?
So this would still, does not take away, on page 7-1-6B.
Correct.
It just is for service animals.
Yes,
It creates the exemption or the potential for the exemption for service animals of this breed.
Right.
Yes,
But we still have this B, where this breed is still not allowed.
yes, unless it's a service animal and they petition for its license. That was what was, I guess, presented or requested.
Okay.
We allow that.
I guess my only question is, I don't know. I feel like it's so weird that we pigeonhole breeds. I guess I didn't know that we did that, but
That was a long time ago.
I guess it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I feel like it's,
I do have a question
Okay, Tom?
for Max. When you're talking about here now, there's breeds of dogs that are doing designer breeds nowadays. Now, there's a cross between I think it's an English Bulldog and a Boxer. I think it's called a Billy Bull. And then there's another one, I know for a fact, that is part of the cross is the Pit Bull Terrier, and that's called the Cane Corso. And I don't know if you've ever seen one of them. Those things are huge.
but this is, if it is a service animal, then this,
It's a designer breed.
Well, so we discussed this issue. You're asking, yes, it's not a purebred of one of these prohibited breeds. This standard, and it's in 7.16B sub 1, if it presents the distinguishing characteristics that substantially conform to these breeds. So if it's a majority of one of these prohibited breeds, it would fall within this prohibition of that breed.
Okay,
If there is some, if I don't know if it becomes an issue in the city that we're getting overrun by these very dangerous mixed breeds of dogs, then we can revisit it at that time. But I think that this leaves some bit of a wiggle room there, but it does encompass not just purebreds of these types of
No,
dogs.
I was just curious because somebody was talking about getting one of those dogs. And once they're full grown, they're huge and they're you can tell looking at the front, they are bigger than the average pit bull. Dogs weigh
I'm
100.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
just
gonna
jumping
go
in,
back to
can
the
I just
mayor.
clarify that the only thing that we're looking at here on this item is,
service dogs.
an amendment for, allowing someone to request, a service dog exemption. Is that correct?
Yes.
correct.
Correct.
Okay, let's stick to that then for this and not get into the rest of the ordinance. If that's not being looked at, if that's all right. And I apologize, for the technical issues, but, I'm back on for now.
Madam Mayor, I would move approval of ordinance 2022-01 regarding regulation and licensing of dogs with the amendment.
Second.
Okay, motion by Karen and a second by Laura. Any discussion on the motion?
I am kind of ignorant to what service dogs, I know what they are, but are they registered in some way? Or can someone just say this is a service dog?
So I can step in there. That's why I tied this to the Wisconsin statute's definition of the service dog. What is a service dog? So the state legislature has actually defined that and put standards in place, which are sometimes moving, but I can tell you what they are right now. We didn't want to define or put into someone's discretion what a service dog is. We don't want to put that determination on the city. So the city doesn't have to make that determination. The state has already made that.
Yeah, I just don't wanna open the door to someone saying, well, this is my service dog, and, you know, it should be somehow.
Yes, so we adopted the state's definition of that.
I feel like there's a limited amount of oversight that can happen anyway until something goes wrong. As much as I don't like what you said about pigeonholing certain breeds, but at the same time, if there is more of a tendency with some, you might as well leave it as something to make it a little easier to identify a dangerous dog or do about it, because in my experience, it is hard to do something about it legally if there is a dog that has been a menace in the neighborhood or people feel unsafe around. But Tammy isn't asking for a picture, any proof of what breed this is, right?
Correct, you're correct.
So.
The only thing I get is a copy of their certification from the vet.
Oh.
So it depends on what the vet calls it, really.
Oh. Well, that helps, though.
It does, but if it's a mixed breed, you know, I have no way of knowing. Because you can have a mixed breed, you can have a mixed bulldog or whatever those things are called. But if it's not, 50% characteristic, I can't discriminate against it, so, you know.
I'm not sure who that is talking. Who is that?
That's Tammy. I was asking
Oh,
a
Tammy, I
question,
can
yeah.
barely hear you.
Sorry. No, I just said, she asked me the question if I see the dogs when they come in. I do not. All I see is the vet's certification for the rabies, which usually has what the breed is. But if it's a mixed breed and I don't see the dog, I have no way of knowing if it's 50% allowed or not.
We may have another issue here, Scott. I think, I'm gonna let you guys finish the meeting without me. I think we're gonna need to end again.
Did I mention to you that?
So Karen, if you don't mind taking over.
I'm back.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mary.
All right. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna take off and, we need to end this.
Okay, so Tammy had answered the question about what she sees, and Laura, did you have a further question?
No, I just
Okay.
wanted to give some,
Yeah,
a little bit more overview, having experience bringing a dog in and bringing dogs in, we don't know what the breed is. So I would expect if my dog qualified to be one of these breeds, but I didn't have it listed that way, at least there would be something to say, you know what, we think that this behavior is a sign, and so then that takes it off of my hands, because I would have a hard time putting my own dog down. But I would understand if it was a hazard, it's at least in the books.
but again, it's a service animal too.
Yes, but just
And
to
they-
cover that.
Okay, did your question get answered?
I think Max was looking up the
Oh,
state
okay.
standard for
Yes.
service dog.
Yeah, so it doesn't have any certification requirement, but it does require specific, specific training, to guide an individual with a disability for the purpose of, work or task of guide, including but not limited to, work or task of guiding a person with impaired vision, alerting a person with impaired hearing to intruders or sound, providing minimal protection or rescue work, in a wheelchair or fetching dropped items. So it's still somewhat out of a vague description and definition, but it does require some special training to be associated with that service.
Other questions before we call for a vote? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of ordinance 2022-01, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, ayes have it, motion passed. The next item, tab 7, is discussion and action on ordinance 2022-02, and that is dealing with the ATV and snowmobile routes needing to make some modifications. That's been in your packet, seems to be fairly straightforward. Are there any specific questions regarding those modifications? I think the police chief has indicated that he felt that the routes would work. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I know west where routes go, but like east, like kind of a dead end, is that correct?
Scott, can you, or Max, can you respond to that question?
I mean, once we get to Rocky Run, right, it
Yeah.
just, there's nothing, right? Like snowmobiles, once they get to Rocky Run, there's no place for them to go.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
It's fine,
Okay.
we can do this, I'm
Okay.
just struggling at some point, Scott, maybe we just need to talk about how, I mean, I think we.
But that's another beyond issue,
Well,
right?
it's, to me, it's relevant because I don't know why we would go further than Memorial Park, because they use Memorial, snowmobiles go to Memorial Park to get on the lake.
Right.
And for them to go any further,
Uh,
I don't see why we would do that. Unless they go to Rocky Run and they have to turn around or go down Rocky Run Road, you know what I mean? Or maybe that's a route for people on that side of town to come in. So it is relevant,
Okay,
and that's why I'm asking.
okay.
I've had some people ask me,
Oh,
because
okay.
there's people parking, there's a couple people now that park and unload snowmobiles over by the baseball field, like in that area, which is fine. We have a couple people doing that now. And one of them asked me where the snowmobile route was, so I asked Tony, and Tony said it goes down to Memorial Park for sure, and that's how people access the ice. So I'm just wondering if, I'm fine with this, I just think that we have a little bit of issue at some point. Yeah, I don't know. Jared, maybe we should open the field. Do you have any comment on this?
I haven't seen many parking snowballs at the baseball time.
We have to open the floor if we want Jerry to, or is, because he's back, we don't have. Okay, Jerry, yeah, you can comment or respond to Jen's question.
I was just wondering if we should extend it down to where it is, down to Rocky Run. I don't know, it's fine where it is, it's just a reroute. I'm just.
It does connect on that,
I don't
that
think so.
side, it does connect on that side of the city up to Sixth Avenue East and then up on Shadow Drive and Grandview Boulevard to get out to, Washington Ave, going out to other trails out.
So that
way.
is a whole
Yes,
system?
it connects up that way.
It does.
Mhm.
That's helpful for me,
Okay.
thank you.
No, but that's good clarification.
Well, yeah, because this
Yeah.
is just, we just see a little piece of
Right.
it here, so I was just like.
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
Oh, and the picture here is just the reroute,
The
not the
reroute,
whole
right.
trail.
Okay, that's fine, all right, okay. Any other questions of approving?
We need a motion and we
I
need
move
a.
to approve the snowmobile route as proposed.
I
I'll
just-
second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Jen. Okay, now that we're, this is my first time. right?
It's okay, you're doing great.
Okay. All in favor of approval of ordinance 2022-02, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi,
Pose same sign. Ayes have it. We are now on to tab H, and it deals with an alcohol licensing matter, dealing with Patsy's Bar and Grill, and a license change, given that there is going to be ownership change.
so
Scott, do we, any questions for Scott regarding this issue? This is just the first step, then it would have to be published, and it would come back to us then at our April meeting. Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move to
Mary?
instruct the city staff to issue public notice and begin an administrative process to issue a new license to Superior Shore Eats Incorporated.
Next meeting, I'll reopen it.
Thank you, Mary. Any other Questions or discussion? In favor of approval of authorizing a notice for the alcoholics and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. We are now on to tab 9. Tab 9 deals with consideration of the sale of property to Jim Lean and Scott. Liddy. Scott, your questions regarding this item?
Nothing more than I put into the packet. Mr. Levine is here to, at this point, to answer any questions that anyone may have regarding this. So just to kind of, if I may just kind of go through process on this. Once you have any of your questions answered, it's your option if you want to just take action open session, or if you wish to discuss any sort of negotiation, price, things of that nature, you have the option to then go to closed session.
Okay, are there questions?
I make a motion to move forward with the sale of the property.
At the price indicated?
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Everyone's reading. Here, I'll ask one a second time. Any other questions?
And I would prefer to go into closed session to discuss this a little more.
Okay, is that a motion? Help me, Max. We have a motion on the floor to go forward with the sale. One of the counselors is asking to go into closed session. Do we have to take action on the motion on the floor?
So the priority of motions, I need to look that one up. Yeah.
It's at $30,000 for the lighting, but what was it? When I was pointing out that you have made it apparent that there's gonna be issues with changing your mind later. Now, this is the last chance. So is there some kind of fee on top of the 30,000?
If you could repeat and what's the
It is
second?
Mary's motion and
A motion by McGrath to move ahead with the sale with the price indicated, and was second by Anderson.
Okay, and then there's a motion to go in,
And then Broberg made a motion that he would like to go into closed session to discuss this a little bit more.
we don't have a second
We
to
don't have
the,
a second yet.
so the motion to act on that is not superseded by the motion to go into closed session. So you can either withdraw that motion, if there's, during discussion, individuals wanna say, hey, I think during discussion, we should address some issues in closed session. Then you can either take a vote on that initial motion, or withdraw that initial motion, have a motion to go into closed session. But if during the discussion, not enough people think that it's necessary to go into closed session, the proper course of action is to take a vote on that initial motion.
Okay.
okay. Hearing all that. So I guess the first question is, does the person that made the motion and the second want to withdraw the first motion? And Mary is saying no, and the second is, well, the person that makes the motion has the floor on that. So it does not, a closed session does not supersede, so any discussion regarding the motion to move forward with the sale of the property at the price indicated, $1,000 per acre?
My discussion would be, as a city council member, if there's somebody that wants to go into closed session to talk about this, because it's a cost and because we have some negotiations when it comes with this, I would support going into closed session just to have a discussion. That's my discussion.
Okay,
I'm just offering that.
okay.
So then you need a second, so.
No, she's not making a motion, she's just a comment.
Right, but
And I will second. If he needs a second, I will second Mr.
We need
Broberg.
to make a
So,
motion.
so the proper procedure for that would be, when you call the vote on this motion, would be to deny it.
Right,
But
yeah.
not invade, deny it, make a motion to go into closed session, we can
Exactly.
reopen and then make.
Yeah, we have to take action on the motion that's on.
Right, I was just doing discussion.
Any other questions regarding the motion that's on the floor, which is to move forward with the sale of the property at the price indicated? Hearing none. Indicating a negative vote. Okay, 4-3. The motion
What was
fails.
yours, Tom?
The motion
Motion.
fails. It was 4-3.
Oh, more?
We would then entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Move to go into closed.
Session, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'm sorry, that needs to be roll call.
I know.
Okay,
Sorry,
Okay.
I wanna go too. I just.
We're taking a vote on the road, on moving into closed session, it has to be roll call.
okay, Anderson,
Yes.
Broberg,
Yes.
Mazias.
Yes.
McGrath,
No.
Nymus,
Yes.
Novacek,
Yes,
Tulowitzki.
Yes.
the motion passes. We need to turn off the recording and, Jim, you'll have to leave.
Bye.
Staying all night.
Yeah. Now we open back up and he can come back in, correct? He wants to wait?
If you
Yes.
open it back.
When we open up, but not in closed session.
No, I know, but
We can go back into open
we
session.
can go back into open session.
I'll let you know if
it's
getting. We can't open.
Yeah, let me know.
Can you speak right now?
After closed session.
Do I get in stream here, Scott?
And then so then we
yes.
should go, can he just?
Yes. You're right. Change it.
Make it-
Right. Yes, he can leave and we open.
Correct.